Frank's Red Hot is the perfect blend of flavor and heat, so you can use an entire bottle to make recipes like buffalo chicken dip or buffalo nachos, or even things that don't start with buffalo. Frank's Red Hot, I put that on everything.
Hey, Craig!
Craig. Right or wrong, we don't care. Win or lose, we don't care. We don't care. We don't care.
Hey, Jeff.
Woo! Buddy.
We won the football game. and we won the party. We did it both. We did. I mean, we were already trying to do the latter, but we definitely weren't expecting to do the former.
Yeah,
but we won the football game.
Definitely seemed like you. Yeah, it seemed like you won the party from all the vicarious living I did through you and all of my other friends that were there. It was. It was one of those like everyone is there but me. Womp womp.
We didn't have any fun there at all, Jeff. Don't worry about it.
No
it was
fun.
Not fun. I didn't have any
drinking,
fun.
No partying.
Yeah.
No celebrating.
So this is just context for this episode. I am at a work conference, which is basically just a class reunion with some of my buddies that I like to drink with. And I didn't want to stop drinking with them to record the podcast episode, so they're actually just in my hotel room drinking along with us. And then my friend Chris had to point out that I was too busy to reply to his tweet about if I was coming to this event. Because I was just drinking copious amounts of alcohol in Wisconsin. But yeah, so yeah, this is this is Podcast versus Everyone, episode 173. I am Craig Powers. With me, as always, is Jeff Newser. And this is the holy fucking shit we beat Wisconsin in Wisconsin episode.
Yeah, we're all very excited. You have your own cheering squad over there. Like, that's awesome.
This is like a live episode. We haven't done one of those yet.
Love it.
Now it's making me want to do the live episode.
Yeah. I'm sitting in my basement while everybody else is in bed, and you're in Las Vegas with a cheering section. Like, you're living your best life, dude.
Our flight got in. I wouldn't say exactly, but our flight got in at midnight on Sunday, and then I turned around and had a noon flight to Las Vegas on Monday. So
did you even go home, or did you just sleep in the airport?
Currently, sitting with two of my worst enablers. Like, this is not. This is a living wake. This is the end of me. Like, this is the last week of my life. It's okay. Everyone knows that. Well, I'm happy to be around friends.
You have to at least make it until the weekend, because I'm going to Pullman with you. So
okay, well,
somehow you got to make it that far.
You know how I looked on the last day of my bachelor party? That's just probably what I'm going to look when I see you on Friday and we drive to Pullman to drink for 2 more days and watch football.
Yeah. I will say that will probably actually level the playing field for once, because you can absolutely 100% drink and party me under the table.
Yeah, it was your idea to do. You're like, we need to just do a Pullman trip together, and I'm like, okay, man, that's your choice.
Yeah,
that's your
but
choice. But now you have
if
to
you're
go.
When you're on your third, bender, maybe it'll be maybe that'll just sort of like. Like in golf, when you have a handicap in golf.
There was a point
like that.
There was a point on Sunday when we were still drinking because we were in Wisconsin, where the Bloody Marys come with half a beer as the chaser for your Bloody Mary, by the way. That's what we learned. That's very necessary. So there's one point where BA says, I think we were having like brunch, and he's like, I think this is officially a bender. We've reached that level.
Wait, That you decided that after you were up at 4 a.m. drinking brandy in the lobby, saluting all the Ironman athletes who were running through?
Yeah, very fun watching as Brian and I are sitting there drinking the worst fucking brandy you could possibly be drinking, but apparently Wisconsinites love, and then also sipping on Fireball, because that's how you're supposed to drink Fireball, of course, at 4 o'clock in the morning as Ironman athletes are walking out the hotel lobby ready to go do their Ironman triathlon in the rain. We're just like, good job. We've been doing our own bit of a marathon here. Maybe not the same type of thing, but I still think takes a certain level.
It's basically the same.
It takes a lot of training. It takes a lot of training to be able to drink 3 days in a row, honestly. You have
prepared
to
for this for like your whole life, man.
My whole life I have prepared for this. Yes. Like, I've been working. I have trained for this. And why? Because we fucking won the football game. Like, let's be honest, I would have been drinking a lot anyway, but there was a certain level of, after we won that game, and we all were kind of tired because we hadn't eaten all day. We got to the bar, and then we all hit like this level at the same time where we had enough to drink, where we were like back, and then we were like, oh my God, we won. And then we were just like, we took over one of their, like I think their version of the Coug. Like, we basically took it over. We had the DJ play Back Home multiple times. Like, it was crazy. But I guess we could also talk about the football game. I don't know. Like, that's really not what I want to talk about, but
I guess if you really want to.
I would say our defense is pretty good. Pretty good.
Yeah, holy shit, man. Yeah, so we talked obviously about this last week, and of course, a few people let us have it on Twitter with the "What an Idiot" GIF, which is
we didn't call for it enough. I wanted way more.
No, but we got a couple. We did get a couple, so I was ecstatic about that, and then I made up for that a little bit by putting it in the middle of my Monday After column that I published a couple hours ago. So
I will say I did get our points right. Just very wrong on Wisconsin's points.
Yeah, I think I said 13 and you said 14.
We also got the time of game.
No, I said 14 and you said 17. That's
I said 31-17. I want to say.
That's right.
And you were like 27-14.
I think I was 27-14 is what I was.
Yeah.
So. Yeah, I mean, I totally, obviously misjudged so many things about this game. Big one, as we know, the defense was, better than we could have hoped. And I still look at it and I'm still just sort of in awe of what they pulled off. Just the fact that, we all kind of expected that, that huge Wisconsin offensive line would lean on them, that at some point they would wear down, at some point, even if, they were good for a while. I mean, look, we saw this, we saw that play out, however many years when Alex Grinch was the coordinator, right? Where, they were small and they'd be disruptive, but if the offense just kind of couldn't get going against bigger teams, they'd have a rough go of it. Washington, of course, being the prime example there. And so it's just like, I kept expecting, the dam to break at some point. I mean, our defensive tackles are 285 pounds, they're not big dudes. And yet they are just incredibly tough. I do think that, as we kept worrying about them wearing down and we kept worrying about, are they, they were just on the field so much, but we did rotate through, 4 or even 5, I think, defensive tackles. So we were just constantly bringing guys in,
especially on that like final Wisconsin drive that was like 14 minutes long between the turnovers and stuff. Like it was it was because Wisconsin subs almost every play. They're not running tempo. They're bringing people in. They're switching out their tight ends, all that. So they give us an opportunity. So we would send 4 or 5 guys in like every single time because they were gassed. Like they definitely were. But they're good enough to and the thing is, what the important part about what they were good enough is that they didn't give up a big play. They did give up a big pass play. They did have a long touchdown pass they gave up, But they never gave up the big hitter from Braylon Allen or any of the other running backs, which Wisconsin, by the way, plays a fuck ton of running backs. But yeah, Braylon Allen under 100 yards. Like,
yeah, I mean, long run of 17.
And 4.7 yards a carry, like
which you absolutely take.
He's like a 7-yard a carry guy, like normally, And then when you look at the other running back, their other running back who got a ton of carries, and he was at 2.9 yards a carry, Ches Malusi. The overall, with sacks, 4 yards a carry, a little bit over that. But honestly, if you could have accepted anything under 5, like would have been amazing.
The sack adjusted number was 4.1.
Yeah, because there was only one sack.
So that's, I mean.
But that was the thing. Incredible. Like, it was very clear they were not getting good push on pass rush, and I think that was very intentional. Like they were sitting back waiting for. We didn't see any of as many creative blitzes and stuff. They just weren't going to take a chance. They weren't going to let him do it. I guess Braylon Allen did him 98 yards. So yeah, he was under 100, but they weren't going to take a chance. They weren't going to let Braylon Allen beat them. And Dickert said that as much as in halftime speech. He said, they're beating us the way that we were fine with them beating us. If they're gonna hit bombs down the field, that's fine. But no, they didn't do that in the second half. And if you make teams grind out these drives, like Wisconsin was moving the ball a bit in the second half, but they were having to do it on third and fourth down conversions over and over and over again. So they were grinding, and then their college kids are going to turn the ball over. They turned the ball over really twice in that final drive. And, also, by the way, how many twice in one game interception fumble? With change of possession back, twice in one game.
It's amazing. Amazing.
On the surface,
right? You might go a whole season and not see that.
Yeah.
And you get
on the surface, 17-14 looks like a boring game, but there was so much chaos in this game. It was so wild. Well, and it needed to be.
You alluded to it with you alluded to it with the time of the game, right? That's part of why the game was actually still 3. What was it? I mean, it's 3+
3:13.
Right?
It was 3 hours and 13, which is a long time for a Wisconsin game for how much they run. And they don't just run; they grind the play clock out every single time.
That was a lot of it. But I'm looking at that last drive for Wisconsin, the one you were talking about.
Two drives. They're technically 2 drives, right?
Yeah, 2 drives, right? So there was before the interception, they had one play that went for double-digit yards. That was it.
Mm-hmm.
So they had first play 0 yards, second play second play incomplete, third play pass interference, that was the big bomb that was I don't know, definitely he was on him, but also the ball was
if the ball was actually thrown well, I think he would have hit him right as the ball got there.
Yeah.
Because the ball was farther away, it was harder for him to make that decision.
Yeah.
So I think that Shaw Smith-Wade hit him right when the ball should have been there. If it would have been a good throw, it was definitely not catchable either.
Right.
No one's making that catch. I don't know. It's funny because Wisconsin fans were booing the refs. It's I can't think of much that because if we want to talk about bad calls, the maybe interception. Wisconsin catch. God. Definitely not first down. In no world.
Definitely not a first down. Ugh.
That's
funny. I almost kind of so many things happened in that game. I actually forgot to put that in the recap. I had forgotten about that.
Well, and there's so many things that happened in the game. You would have thought before the game that we would have had to get every single break to win, and we honestly didn't play that well, especially offensively.
Yeah,
and we didn't play perfectly defensively. We had some coverage. How many third?
That was the ethos of what I wrote tonight.
Yeah,
I was
sorry, I haven't read it. Man.
I don't know.
I'm busy.
Yeah, but I'm I don't know how we won this. We didn't play perfect. We didn't even play our best game, and yet we won. And the whole thing was just Just utterly bizarre. Totally bizarre.
Yeah, 253 yards to 400.
Yep.
Like, yards per play, no, not good. Time of possession, absolutely. Like, which is, kind of a dumb stat, but also that defense was so fucking tired at the end. They were having to rotate constantly. So that's when time of possession starts to matter.
Yep.
And so it's like, it's crazy. And then that fucking last drive, like, you get the ball back with 5:14 left. And Wisconsin never sees it again. Like, we Wisconsin with that shit.
Yeah.
I remember sitting there when we got the ball back. I'm like, please, can we just I would love a 5-minute drive with no points right here. And then once the
even like a 3-minute drive with a punt.
Yeah,
like
with a punt, get them deep. They don't want to throw the ball. And then so it's like they don't want to throw the ball. All that stuff. Like, so that's crazy. And then it could have went poorly because there was that terrible snap to Cam, and he fucking made a play. Like, I know he hasn't played that well yet, but he also played probably a top 10 or 15 defense this week on the road in front of 80,000 people. Like, so I don't know how many quarterbacks, especially in our second game out of FCS, would have had a good I think this will be a great learning experience for him in terms of speed of game and stuff.
Yep.
Hopefully he adjusts and all that. But I mean, that was a hell of a play. And then,
I mean, was there any moment in which you looked at him and thought, "Oh my God, he's so rattled"?
I would say early. He definitely. I wouldn't say rattled, but he looked nervous.
Okay.
And he's just
which
a bit
is normal.
He was a bit slow on his reads, and he late on his throws. Like the interception he threw on the first drive. Like, he just waited too long, and then he should have never thrown it by the time he was ready to throw that. Like, it was, and then he missed like some like screens, and like he missed a wide open tight end on the first drive that may have been a touchdown. So that he wasn't playing that well. But is he rattled? No, he looks so casual all the time.
Exactly.
Like, he looks so casual.
The composure was always there.
And so the fact that he grabs that terrible snap off the ground on a critical, like the most important play of the game, basically.
Yeah.
And runs forward, gets first down, and then it was like they hit that big one to Victor, and then once they got to the midfield, you're like, well, shit, even if we punt now,
right?
Like, they're gonna get the ball back with like 30 seconds, like at best, like a minute left inside the 10. And then you're starting to feel it.
Back to back. Yeah, and then suddenly we go back to back runs and get a first down, and then
let's talk about Nakia Watson then. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Like, what a day for him.
Yeah,
like that had to feel
funny.
so good. So I'll say something.
You look at his stats. His stats are like, but
we definitely
such a good day.
We definitely talked to the kicker, Wisconsin's kicker, at the bar after the game. And by the way, we asked him, like, and he probably on TV knew, you could see, but we asked him, like, was that second kick blocked? His second miss, and he's like, no comment. And then you look at then when I've watched it was definitely not. But I also asked him, like, dude, like, has Nakia been talking shit? He's been texting. He's like, oh, he's been talking shit all week. And so, like, for Nakia to have that, all these, he knows everyone on that team.
Yep.
Seriously?
I'm talking. All right. I've been handed another beer. All right.
Can you have to put your beer in the cold?
Yeah, put that one in the cold and get it recold. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just gonna chug it. It's fine.
Yes.
So we got these. So we're like, let's get road beers. We grabbed these like 24-ounce Lagunitas IPAs, but the line was so long at Walgreens. By the time we got to the front of the line, those beers were no longer cold. So we just been,
so his sink is now full of ice.
Yes, my sink is full of ice, and it's full of beer now.
Perfect. That sounds very much Vegas.
So Jeff, talk about Nakia Watson while I chug the rest of this warm Lagunitas IPA, sir.
Yeah, I mean, I think the thing is, we watched the opener against Idaho, and in that one, it's, again, you're trying to figure out what's real and what's not, right? It's game one. You're playing an FCS opponent. Like, what's real, what's not real? And Nakia Watson ran for 117 in the opener. And, I think had WSU just decided they were going to run it, he probably could have run for 200, right? So
yeah,
you're like,
yeah.
okay, well, he looks different. And he looks a little better, but, I guess the proof will be in the pudding. Man, like watching him run against Wisconsin. Now, there were a number of times where there just wasn't a lot of space, right? I mean, and he only had, what did he have? Like 10 carries, I think, is all, right? So it's not like he got the ball a ton.
Yeah, but how many touchdowns did he have?
Yeah, so he had 2 touchdowns.
How many basically game clinching running first downs did he have?
Yeah, he had those 2 runs on the last drive. Those were, those were the money, right? You had, after they finally got out from the shadow of their own end zone, right? They started on the 12. And, they hit a couple of passes, including the 18-yarder to Lincoln Victor on that really nifty RPO design. Then he gets 4 yards and then he gets, Wisconsin calls timeout, and then he gets 11 yards to pick up that first down. And that's the key. Once you get that first down, now, okay, you're right around 2 minutes. They've got 1 timeout. You've got 3 plays. That's, okay, they're going to take 1 timeout. You figure 40 seconds, that's 80 seconds. You're going to, it's going to be real tough for them to do much there. And then, of course, we run it all the way down and run it out. And that's really possible because of that that 4-yard run, that 11-yard run.
Yeah, like it's not even that we ran it we ran the clock all the way down. We didn't move that far. I think it was like a 40-yard drive. Yeah. It was in 30, like 35 of that was like 1 play. But I remember I turned to BA. I was like, we need 2 more first downs, 2 more first downs, 2 more, 2 more. After Cam got that first down, like 2 more. And then you start doing the math. And how many times have you or I or so many people on Twitter said, why don't they, when you have a 4th down and you have X amount of seconds left, why don't you just throw the ball in the fucking air?
Yeah.
Throw it out of bounds.
Yep.
And that's what they did. He ran sideways and chucked out of bounds.
What struck me about that entire sequence, right? So, I wrote about this also. Obviously, there were a lot of people who were not pleased with Mike Leach's clock management over the years. And look, it's one of those things where, if you watch enough football, you see that almost everybody sucks at clock management, which leads me to believe, because, I like simple explanations. I'm just like, well, it must just be really hard, to manage. It must be way harder to figure all this out than we are giving it credit for if everybody's terrible at it, right? Okay. So I'm watching this play out. And again, when the drive started, really there was nothing in my mind that was like, okay, yeah, we're going to run this out. Like, I just assumed that we weren't. I'm like, okay, we'll probably try to run some time off the clock. We'll kick it back and we'll have to defend, and oh boy, then it's going to be hold on to your butt. Okay, so, and they come out passing. I'm like, oh, okay. So they throw 2 passes, right? Move out a little bit. And then he picks up that first down on the bad snap. It's like, oh, okay. All right. Well, we got 1 first down. That's great. Now we're probably going to hand off the ball. And Wisconsin was obviously thinking the same thing. They were not ready
for that, yeah.
Because they ran that RPO for the first time all game. It looked like a little zone read. He pulls it. He starts to run on his own, then flips it out to Lincoln Victor, 18 yards up the sideline, stays in bounds. And now all of a sudden you're like, okay, we ran
RPO,
at the 40, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, so we're at the, the 40, we're at our own 40 at that point, 40? Yeah.
Yeah.
So
we're about midfield.
And all of a sudden you're like, and then it's like, okay, now we're going to hand it off. And we're going to make sure that.
And also that's what you want them to do. At that point, you're like, yes, we're at the point, like, even if we give them 20 seconds left, that's fine. Yep. If that's what they get, like, I think we'll be okay.
And the entire sequence to me, just sort of, and maybe I'm imagining things, I don't know, but like, it really looked like the kind of sequence where you're like, man, that was prepared. Yeah. Like, they were prepared for that very specific end of game scenario. Like you said, okay, we need 2 first downs. like it seemed very clear that they knew they needed two first downs. It seemed very clear that they knew, hey, if we hand it off here and hand it off here, they've got this many timeouts. We're going to be able to run it down this far. And then it's like they take the delay of game with 6 seconds, right? And it's like, okay, well, 6 seconds is enough time to do this. And then they just did it. Like, it didn't look all weird and haphazard. Like, okay, actually, there's only 6 seconds left, so this is what we're going to try and do. Which is sometimes what that kind of stuff looks like.
And Ward really probably didn't even need to throw the ball. Like, but probably it was also, there was like 1 or 2 seconds left when he threw the ball. And it was you were kind of like, just throw the ball. You could see him winding up, and you're like, yes. As soon as he was winding up to throw, you're like, we win. Like, we win. It's over. Because that was it. It's over. And yeah, then I lost my absolute shit and almost killed Katie, but it's okay. I wanted to get to my wife and give her a hug.
Preparation, man.
Yeah, that's
preparation.
So it's like it was so good.
And so that's the kind of stuff that just makes you go like, shit, man. Dickert really does know what he's doing. I think he might be really good.
I mean, he's already been on lists for Nebraska, way. Nebraska would not hire Jake Dicker. Like,
that's insane.
he's coached all of 7 games of this.
Yeah, if you want to include, he coached 6 last year, 2 this year. So if you want to include the interim games, I guess you could say. I guess he was the coach for the bowl game. So okay,
so 9. We're up to 9.
So three games where he was actually the coach. Like, I don't know, man. Just whatever. I ain't worried about that. Offensive line. Tell me your thoughts on the offensive line, because I mean they certainly weren't dominant, but they also didn't torpedo.
They didn't ruin the game.
I wouldn't lay whatever issues the offense had. I would not blanket lay at their feet.
There was definitely sometimes when Cam got hit that was his fault. Yep. Like we always we're like dorks that always say like QB sacks or QB stat. And yeah, you could be like, yeah, you should have spotted that blitzer, dude. You should have changed the fucking play. I will say, like, he got absolutely rocked on his second interception, which actually turned out to be a first down because of Lincoln fucking Victor, who was the low key MVP of the game. Like,
yeah,
I mean, that dude never stops. Like, just to come from out of bounds and swipe that, like, just incredible. But yeah, like he deserves, like, it's so fun. Like, he's actually getting used more this year than he was last year, and it's fun because he's a very fun player. Like, and also he just works his ass off, like, constantly.
Yes, he does.
Yep. He has the good version of short man syndrome. It's like,
he's got the kind of chip you can only have if you were a incredible high school player, where you were the quarterback because you were the best athlete, which meant that you didn't really get any good scholarship offers out of high school because you're not going to play quarterback at his size anywhere. And then you go and walk on at Hawaii, right? And then you follow your coach to Washington State to walk on there. And then, so it's such a cool story, man. It's such an awesome story. And I love that he had maybe the two of the biggest plays of the game for sure, outside of Watson's, long touchdown.
And let's talk about Watson's long touchdown, by the way.
Yeah.
Well, let's just say, so we come out, we get the first down, or the first touchdown, and that was so fun. Like, that was so crazy. Like, we're up. Like, at that point, you're like, okay, we can compete today. Like, because you're worried, like, yeah, sure, maybe our defense can hold them, but once we got that touchdown, it's like, okay, like, if we can score, then and also right before that,
well, we did it with an explosive play too, like that.
Yeah,
was
an explosive play to what?
Wasn't explosive, but
an explosive play to what position? Like, what
to
position? Tight end, which I think may have been the first tight end catch since like 2010.
Yeah. Long time. Fox did a great job of making sure we didn't actually see the play unfold. That was rad.
Yeah, I watched that on DVR and like what the actual fuck. Like,
it was like they ran tempo, and then next thing you know, the ball's in the air. But yeah, it's I
will say the broadcast.
So you finally get
the broadcast, including Brock Huer, did a good job. Like the other like the actual team was really good, and also Bracure cried at the end, so whatever.
That was funny.
We'll talk about that because we're obviously gonna talk about Dicker a bit, but yeah, like so yeah, we come out and we get that touchdown, and you're like and then Wisconsin scores twice, and you're kind of worried. You're like, oh shit, our defense is toast now because they've been on the field.
And by the way, the touchdown that tied it was like right after our touchdown, and they like went right down the field. Like it was like, okay, we're awake now. Here we go. And I was like, all right, well, I guess this is it. But we did okay after that, and then of course the disaster at the end of the half we don't have to talk about. But anyway, so going into halftime down 14-7, and
shout out to the WC video team because they put those Wisconsin touchdowns in there, which I think was cool because it like builds a better narrative about the game.
Yeah, you gotta tell the whole story.
Absolutely. We came back, baby. And so you're thinking 14-7, but it's the game had been even enough at that point that you're just thinking we just need a big play on this first drive. I mean, we need something. We need points on this drive, and we'll be okay. We'll hang in there. Wisconsin is not going to suddenly, we're not playing 2004 USC here. They're not going to score 3 touchdowns in a minute. It's not going to happen. If we get points here, then we're probably going to ride it till the end. It's probably going to be close until the fourth quarter. And then Renard Bell returns the ball into field, immediately into field, inside the 30. And by the way, an incredible kick return, just an all effort kick return. And at that point you're like, okay, we can do this. And that drive was definitely disappointing. I also think Donovan Ollie had that first down.
Oh my gosh!
How many calls
that happened more than once in the game?
How many calls
we get more than once?
How many calls we get fucked in this game and still won? It's so crazy. And
completely crazy.
Wisconsin fans were bitching in the stadium. By the way, we shut them the fuck up, dude. They were in shell shock. I
love it.
They were so good. Their giant student section. By the way, they get really involved in the music, which is super fun. I think being a Wisconsin undergrad is probably super fun, especially going to a football game. It looks super fun, but also go to WSU instead. It's fine. Whatever. But
how? By the way, okay. So now I got to ask now though. How we jump around?
Amazing because we were winning, especially. I just
They're all
kept
jumping around. You're like, yeah, this is cool. We're
winning. Wisconsin was driving in the end of the third quarter. It's just don't let them score before the quarter ends, so we can jump around while we're winning. So they have to jump around while we're winning, and it was amazing. There's definitely a video of us on Twitter doing it, and we had a lot of fun. I saw Colton Clark say that the press box was shaking. I heard from another Wisconsin fan that they said they started that in '92, where it was either a Wisconsin fan or a Coug that knew a Wisconsin fan told me they started doing that in '92 when that song came out, and they actually had to reinforce the student section because
it was amazing.
So it was really cool. It was really cool. It was very cool. It was everything I hoped it would be, and actually way more because we were winning at the time. Because I kind of thought we were just going to do jump around while we're down by 3 touchdowns, but whatever. It's this is part of the reason why we came was to see this. But BA and I bought koozies that say jump around on with Bucky on one side and jump around on the other. That was the take because that was awesome. It was awesome and they love it, man. There was so much shit that said jump around because we were trying not to tell our friends that didn't know that we were there that didn't know about it. And then a few of my friends
surprised.
A few of my friends were like, yeah, we kind of figured it out because jump around was everywhere. They did a jump around weather forecast at halftime.
That's awesome.
So they do a forecast or halftime, and then they have their fifth quarter thing. So the band comes out and plays for 20 minutes, and which we saw because we were basking. We were
And celebrating, yeah.
Aggressively basking, but also shout out to, and apparently it's a Big Ten tradition. The Wisconsin band played our fight song before the game and turned towards us and played it at us, which was
really cool.
really cool. And also we won, so so jump around was amazing. But yeah, I was just like, I kept turning to BA. I was like, I want to jump around with the lead. I want to do jump around with the lead, please. So when they get that stop to force the fourth down, and there's like 12 seconds left, and then we thought there was like some weird official timeout, like I think it was injury or something, and we're like, no, like come on, I don't want him to like make the field goal and to be tied during jump around. But sure enough, come out at fourth quarter, and that is one of the worst field goal attempts you will ever see. Like I'm pretty sure I could have done that kind of effort,
Yeah.
And I talked to the kid later, and he wasn't feeling good about it. But
poor guy.
He was not wearing Wisconsin gear at the bar. So that was, we kind of took over that bar. But so he misses that, and you're like, maybe today is our day. But okay, let's back up because we haven't talked about the go-ahead touchdown, just out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Like out of nowhere. And what a play that was by Nakia, just like break a tackle, and then he broke that tackle, and then you look we're in the back corner, the opposite corner from that end of the field. But so we had like a good view of how the defense set up from behind, and you see him spin out of the tackle, and you're like, oh shit, there's no one there. And then he runs, scores. We absolutely lost our shit. And then right after that, WSU put me in their highlight video, and if you see it, I'm pointing, and what I was doing as I was pointing. So Wisconsin students have a chant that they use throughout the game that says "Eat shit, fuck you, eat shit, fuck you." Like they just would randomly chant that at times. And so I like after we scored that touchdown, I was like pointing at them. I was like, "Eat shit, fuck you, eat shit, fuck you." And so they like it, but that is when the WSU like was recording me apparently, and then like put me in the video. So that's why if you see AI recording that can check out what he's saying on his mouth. He's a rude man. So I'm getting heckled now. I think they were like, "Oh my god, he said eat shit, fuck you" on his podcast. Yeah, we have the explicit rating.
Yeah,
we have the explicit rating on this podcast.
Rating. We're okay.
We definitely have the explicit rating on this podcast. Extremely explicit, especially a few episodes ago. But so I'm just like shouting that, and if you look in the clip, like BA is like you only see the top of his head. It's because he's like doubled over laughing as I'm yelling. Down. Yeah, because he's laughing. Like that's why the people around me are sweating, because I'm just like, eat shit, fuck you. Like, which obviously they couldn't hear me. I was on the opposite side of the stadium, whatever.
I don't know. I think they could hear you.
They definitely did. They were like, that guy, that tall guy.
Man, look at that guy over there. Yeah.
And also, what happened after that, we got on TV, apparently. And
you did.
I
definitely did
a massive amount of text messages, and Twitter mentions, like someone was like, "Oh, Craig, I think you were on TV." Like I was like, "What?" And I look at my phone, which I had been like not trying to look at too much because I had I was worried about having to charge to order the Uber home the rest of Uber back to the hotel later that night.
You're like, I gotta make it through.
Yeah, I can't, I've already tweeted multiple videos. I can't. And also in my mind was like, I gotta tweet a jump around video later, so I gotta have the battery charge left for that. But then people are like, holy shit, we think our TV, and I open my phone and it's just blown up. Yep. Definitely was on TV, and that was awesome. We were, I think Bryce sent to Emma, Bryce who writes for us, our basketball genius, and Emma who was right behind, right next to me. He sends to to Emma, like, Craig looks so happy. And I'm like, yeah, definitely, definitely was. Like, I had someone else tweeted me. It was like, I didn't know who you are, but you were like, I think she saw the pictures because the picture of that I tweeted at the end with me and my wife after the win, like it was like got hella likes. I'd never gotten more tweets or more likes. It's because Amanda was in the picture, obviously. But by the way, she thought that was a bad picture of her. So I was like, oh, congrats. That's the most likes I've ever gotten on Twitter. So that's basically my most seen tweet. And then you don't like the picture, so sorry. But yeah, so this other person responded to me. She's like, it was fun standing in front of you or sitting in front of you during the game. I was like, yeah, I'm kind of an animated football watcher, which you know, Jeff, and
Yes.
you are of the similar.
Yeah.
Vein.
We are extremely animated when we are watching sports, no doubt about that.
Yeah, and honestly, all that was like, it wasn't I was like drunk or anything. It was just me because that was like we were all like a lot of us were like extremely sober watching the game. I'm not like trying to put the alumni association on blast or anything, but like it was there was so many people at the pregame event, like it was kind of hard to get drinks sometimes until the very end when people started leaving towards the game. Like so we were all like we were Katie and BA and I and stuff were like we're gonna be like more sober than usual watching a WC football game, and they were like, actually this could be cool. This could be this like we're gonna like remember everything. New
experience.
We're gonna like everything's gonna be so clear, And so yeah, it was, and it was really fun, like sitting next to BA and like because we were just like, doing our over analysis of shit. And, but it was, but yeah, like it's great because I'll tell you. The Alamo Bowl, the pregame before that, it was unlimited. You paid obviously more money, but you got unlimited like food and alcohol, and they had fireball shots. And this one, they specifically said there will be no shots at this event. So because the Alamo Bowl with all them fireball shots, I'll tell you, I don't have the greatest, very specific. I definitely remember a lot of the Alamo Bowl, but it's not as clear as some other games. But like this one, everything was there because I didn't really have that much to drink that day. I mean, definitely the night before we did because Madison got the cheapest fucking drinks ever. Like it's definitely like when you go to the Coug in Pullman, like it's just like, and you buy like a round for everyone, and you're like,
yes,
what's happening right now? Like we kept going to the bar, and like I would go to the bar and order a round for like 10 people, and like my bill would be like $90. And that was a round for 10 people, but like doubles for everyone, pitchers for or either everyone was getting either a double for themselves or a pitcher for themselves. Like it was like it wasn't like I was buying like 9 singles or 9 beers. Like it was so like it was crazy cheap. I think, and then we were like tipping well, and the bar staff at State Street Brats was giving us free drinks by the end of the night because we kept telling them they were like the best, and we were tipping them in such a way. But I will say Madison, highly recommend. Check it out. Go. It's a fun town, beautiful, situated between 2 lakes, and just beautiful views. We had the pregame on this like it was a campus building, and it was just right on the lake, and it was so pretty. Just hanging out like, and so like a great spot. And also we won. Like we won the game. But yeah, it was crazy. We took that lead in the third quarter, and then no one scored. Like Wisconsin didn't even score in the second half. We took that lead in the third quarter, and then no one scored again in the last 20 minutes of the game.
It was incredible.
No points were scored. There was chaos aplenty, but there was no points scored, and like it was so wild. Like, and we didn't go there. I mean, obviously the team did, but all of us that had been planning for years to go to this game never planned to like go there to watch us win.
Right. I mean, you weren't there to watch them win. You were there because, hey, it's Wisconsin. This is a once in a maybe lifetime type trip. Hey, so we're gonna go and we're gonna enjoy it, and then you get this gift right off the top.
No, it's literally one of the greatest weekends of my entire life. Like it was. Sorry, Jeff. We didn't have any fun. Not a single bit of fun.
Damn it.
I will say, Corbel brandy is fucking disgusting. Like, absolutely. That was the alcohol we could not finish. Like, we were like, we can't. We threw away like a half full bottle of it. Like, we're like, we cannot finish this. This is so
That's
gross.
So funny. I mean, I don't like brandy anyway. It's just like the sweetness is like overpowering.
Yeah,
but
that's what I said. Like, so so basically brandy is like distilled wine aged in bourbon barrels. So it has definitely some bourbon flavors to it, but it's just like a really sweet version of that.
Are you seriously comparing brandy to bourbon?
Brandy is distilled wine aged in bourbon barrels.
No, seriously. No, bourbon and brandy are two very different things.
Exactly.
So brandy has wine product in it, yeah?
Yeah, it's distilled wine.
Exactly, and bourbon is not.
But then they age that distilled wine in a bourbon barrel, so it gets some of the bourbon characteristics.
So you can potentially use some of that crappy American stuff to make the stuff taste good.
Wait, so you're saying bourbon is crappy, is what you're saying?
That's where I'm coming from.
Oh, my English Australian friend over here is talking shit about bourbon.
Man, them's fighting words.
The greatest, like.
My wife is called Brandy, and she's American. So where are you going with this?
But look, you may like brandy. Then try Corbel brandy, and then you'll know our pain of drinking that shit.
Is this like really bad?
Yeah, it's in a plastic bottle. It comes in a plastic bottle. Like but that's it. 40% of the sales of Corbel. Sorry, Jeff. We're still podcasting. 40% of the sales of Corbel are in the state of Wisconsin, the U.S. state of Wisconsin.
Is that because they make it illegal to export it outside of Wisconsin?
No, they don't even make it in Wisconsin. They make it in California. Then they send it to Wisconsin. Like, and the Wisconsinites love it.
It's like, what do these Californians got against Wisconsins?
I mean, probably a lot of things.
I mean, they're just trading Corbel for cheese.
The average life expectancy of a Wisconsinite must be like 40. Because the whole time we were there, it was Bloody Marys that came, then they asked, okay, what beer chaser you want? The, brandy, fried cheese, that was just all we were eating. Sausages, I don't know how they survive, but maybe it's like there's a Mediterranean diet and then there's like a Wisconsin diet, a Lake Monona diet or something. I don't know.
Cheese and brandy.
They eat cheese, but it's deep fried. Deep fried cheese. We had a lot of cheese curds.
Yeah.
I think almost every I think I will say with confidence, every meal I had in Madison included deep fried cheese curds. Every single meal I had.
I mean, that sounds like a winner to me.
I mean, it was a great weekend. Yeah.
Okay, this says something
cheese curds, brandy,
just saying that.
Sipping Fireball.
Just assimilating into the culture. Just assimilating into the culture. Yeah.
As one does.
Oh, I just randomly saw a tweet that said Russell Wilson has beaten 31 of 32 teams in his NFL career and it will remain that way for at least another year.
Yeah.
Speaking of Wisconsin, bad weekend for Wisconsin, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Yeah, let's break. We'll come back. We'll talk about, I don't know, man.
More alcohol.
I don't know. We'll talk about stuff.
Okay. And we're back.
We're back.
We're back.
That was really quick.
So,
Well, okay, see, he just said that was really quick. It won't sound that quick on the podcast.
yeah, they'll have to listen to an ad in between. Sorry, guys. It'll be an extremely
The magic
loud
of
ad.
digital audio editing.
It'll be an extremely loud ad that blows out their ears, and they'll press the plus 30 button to skip it. We love our sponsors that we have nothing to do with.
Yes.
But yeah, Jeff, so we won the goddamn football game.
Hell
so
yeah.
I've been pretty much not very sober since like the entire time that has happened.
Since like Friday.
But
Thursday. You showed up on Thursday.
Yeah, we stayed in Chicago on Thursday. Emma took us to some of her favorite spots. We got Pequod's Pizza, very good. We were taking shots of Malort and doing all the good stuff. You know, getting a Chicago handshake, a shot of Malort, and an old style. That's a Chicago handshake.
My goodness.
Just good stuff all around. You know, good stuff. So, but the beautiful thing was, we had like a noon checkout time on Friday, and we had we didn't need to get to Madison that early. So we may have went to bed at 2 a.m., but we didn't get up until like 11. So and we didn't have our kids with us. So we had just a beautiful night of drunken sleep. It was just probably the most I've slept ever in my entire life. I don't know. Then we went up to Wisconsin and we got a case of spotted cow as soon as we crossed the border.
Woo!
And definitely did not break any open container laws. We just obviously waited until we got to the hotel to drink that spotted cow.
Definitely
not. Definitely didn't. We would never consider drinking like 4 or 5 spotted cows from the state line to Madison. We definitely didn't do that. We definitely followed all laws, all Wisconsin and federal laws, and did not do that. But that, I've drank a lot of things, Jeff, but I'm curious about what you're currently drinking.
Yeah, well, I started the podcast by drinking, as I mentioned before we started recording, I finished off my Single Hill stash from when I was in Yakima weeks ago. So it started with the Gold Moose Canadian style lager, which is, as it says, brewed natural, eh? So really delicious lager. Sometimes I know you are a pretty massive lager guy.
That's fine.
For me, it kind of depends to some degree. Sometimes I'm kind of like turned off a little bit by the ones that are just kind of overly bready and biscuity. And I'm just kind of like, it's a little much. This one was definitely on the lighter side, which I enjoyed a ton. So that was delicious. Now I have moved on to an E9 mono fruited American wild ale.
Oh, fuck.
Which is barrel-aged wild ale with red raspberries from Sereno Farms and Bing cherries from Diamondback Acres. It is tart and delicious, and it's wonderful. I'm very much enjoying it.
2 types of cherries. So I've been drinking gin and sodas. As I mentioned earlier, the warm Lagunitas IPA. Currently have a Mind Haze. Did we get another type of beer? Did we just get Mind Haze? Did we get another one?
What? No, you got another one? You finished your beer already?
No, I haven't finished it, but did we get a different type of beer? So currently drinking, I will say this is my first Mind Haze, I think. Firestone Mind Haze. It is my mind has been hazy many times, including at this current moment. But this is the most averagest hazy IPA I can possibly come up with.
Most averagest.
Most averagest hazy IPA.
It's not hazy at all, is it? It's like got no fruit.
Or flavor much, really?
No freaking fruit in this at all.
There's not much going on with this beer.
It's got alcohol in it.
It does have alcohol in it. It has 6 which is why we're drinking it, right?
I was going to say, that's about all that matters at this point.
But it does not have a
And then now Chris has brought me over a classic Deschutes from Oregon, fresh squeezed IPA.
Ah, yes.
Wonder how old this is. It's from a Walgreens in Las Vegas. Jeff, what day do you think it was packaged on?
I'm gonna go with April 10th.
You know what? Actually, it's pretty fresh. It was August 9th.
Whoa!
I'm very
That's
surprised.
Really fresh. That's like
I'm very surprised. I haven't had a fresh squeeze in so long.
Is it okay?
Yeah, I haven't had one
Pretty
in a long
good.
time either.
Definitely better than the Mine Haze. Definitely better than the Mine Haze.
Okay, so we're going with this.
I mean, I like Firestone Walker, but this is like the averagest hazy
Are you
IPA.
gonna freaking drink your Mine Haze?
I will drink them both. Yeah. You have a. Oh, did you bring those Hungarian IPAs? Can you get me one of those? I'll review one of those. All right. We're getting. Let me give a review of Deschutes fresh squeezed IPA. I have good memories with this beer, especially when I lived out east. You know, wouldn't see very many East Coast beers. Like so when I got a Deschutes fresh squeeze, I get really excited. And now Luke has brought me Luke lives in Belgium, and he went to Budapest. That's how you say it in Hungarian. Budapest.
Pest.
Hungarian is one of the hardest languages for an English speaker to learn.
That's always fun.
Yeah. Like it is. I know. I had a friend that moved to Hungary, and she didn't even try to learn the language.
She's just like, fuck it, don't care, can't do it.
Chris, do you remember Bree?
Yes.
Yeah, she lived in Hungary for a bit, and then she didn't even try. She actually offered me a job. I could have moved to Hungary, Jeff.
Oh.
I wouldn't have went to the Wisconsin game though.
I'm glad you didn't.
If I would have moved to Hungary, like I wouldn't have went to the Wisconsin game, and I don't think you would have been in my wedding, buddy. Sorry to tell you.
Nope, I don't think so.
All right, what do we got here?
In vitro.
And it's a collaboration. And Shell Beach, Solar Flare IPA.
Ooh.
It's all in English, thankfully. Well, there's also Hungarian on here. Let me try to read it. No, I would not ever try to read that. I don't know how any of those things are pronounced, even though they look like. It tastes the same as on tap in the bar. That's pretty good. It is unfiltered and unpasteurized top fermented craft beer. It might contain yeast sediment. Best before. They have a best before date instead. All right, I'm gonna try it. It's got a really cool can. It's all black. Like even the tab is black. Everything is black. Hungarian IPA, pretty solid. Definitely better than the Mind Haze, I would say. Probably of the 4 IPAs I currently have on the desk right here, this is the best one I've had today. Luke brought it all the way from Hungary. Which I feel bad because I was supposed to bring Luke a couple beers that have been sitting in my cellar for years already, and I may have forgot to do that. I didn't bring any beer this trip, which is also a failure of meeting Luke at a trip. But yeah, this Hungarian IPA is delicious. Very much an American style beer. Very much, but
as one might expect.
Yeah, as one might expect. That the Americans, like a lot of the breweries in Europe now are American style breweries. So we win.
Is it just that you're trying to copy what has been done well in Europe?
No, the Europeans did not invent hazy IPAs. Like that was a fully American thing. They did invent IPAs, a very different version of it.
Yeah.
But none of the American beers that we bought were anywhere close to the European one.
You're comparing the beers that we could get at Walgreens in Las Vegas to the like microbrewed like Hungarian beer that like one of the biggest beer nerds you know brought back from Hungary to share with one of the other biggest beer nerds you know.
Yes.
Yes, these beers. No, definitively, as Chris said, Hungarian beer is better than American beer.
Scientifically proven.
Scientifically proven. We're all moving to Hungary.
Amen. Don't try and say that in Hungarian.
Yeah, don't try to say any of those words in Hungarian.
Don't even try.
Yeah, so that was the beer segment. In Vitro and Shell Beach Brewing, check them out next time you're in Hungary, my loyal listeners.
Check out In Vitro for sure.
In Vitro is in Shell Beach is a band. I just read that. So Shell Beach is not a brewery, it's a band.
In Vitro is a bar and a brewery.
And I cannot read where it's located. What town is it in? City?
Budapest?
Yeah, but it doesn't even say that. Unless Budapest looks very different in Hungarian. All right.
In Hungarian, Hungary is not even spelled with it.
I'm sure people are definitely still listening to this, like 100%. 100%.
They're just, they're hitting that magic 30-second forward.
They're like,
so we talk about
they were so excited that the Cougs got one of the biggest wins they've ever gotten, ever. And then they get this podcast where it's just like me talking to people like that they cannot hear most of the time.
Oh, they'll be able to hear it.
They'll be able to hear you guys.
Because I can hear most of it.
Very good. Very good. Very good. Very good. I feel like Shall we at least try and talk about Colorado State for a minute? Yeah, let's talk about Colorado State. I kind of think we're going to lose that game.
Oh my God. It's such a trap game. I mean, people listened to our podcast a couple of weeks ago. They know that we already said that.
Yeah.
It was like, this was lining up to be a trap game. And from the beginning, I thought, it's just terrifying. Like looking at the schedule. Yeah. I mean, it's,
but also,
you got Wisconsin
Colorado
on
State
one end, you got Oregon on the other.
Yeah.
But
they're really bad.
They are. And it's not a situation where you're
that makes it less
sneaky
trap
good.
Gamey.
Yeah, they're not sneaky good.
Like we can play like absolute shit and still win.
They might be worse than Idaho. And maybe that sounds hyperbolic, but Idaho went into Indiana and they hung for a little while and they hung for a little while with us and Idaho's pretty spunky. Colorado State is the opposite of spunky at the moment. They got absolutely slapped around in the Big House by Michigan, which of course you kind of expect, and then they went home to have their opener against Middle Tennessee State and promptly went down 27-0 at halftime and got booed off their field.
Yeah.
So
they're averaging.
That's not good, man.
They're averaging a whopping 3.78 yards per play so far this year.
Yes.
Very
and
good
also
shit.
they've given up 16 sacks. In 2 games.
That's part of it. Which makes their rushing yards per attempt with sacks included 0.99.
Yes.
0.99.
It is something else. So
all that being said, I'm terrified.
Yeah, still terrified.
Because also I think there'll probably be more students at this game because of WC winning that one, but I still think this is going to be a very poorly attended game.
Yeah. Hopefully it helps that it's a 2:00 start. That's a pretty easy one for, especially locals or Spokanites to get to. So
yeah, you can do it.
I think that's the hope.
Yeah, even people from like Yakima can do a out and back.
Anybody who can make a day trip there for, a few hours away, Tri-Cities, whatever.
Yeah.
So hopefully that's the case. I don't know. The other thing I think, honestly, is, Colorado State runs an air raid that is, it's very air raidy.
They run an air raid that they've thrown 50 passes in 2 games.
Yeah. So, the fact that, for our defense, they're going to be used to playing that. They're honestly just going to be able to practice against our offense all week, and probably be fine. So, I think all those things go together. I mean,
so they run an air raid. They run an air raid, but they've so how many sacks do you say? 16?
16.
So they've had 66 dropbacks and 57 actual runs. Then. So they're not like they haven't been extreme on one end. And given how they've been trailing so much, I would have thought they would have thrown the ball even more. So I don't know. I don't know what kind of. I don't know, man. Like they might run the ball a lot. Obviously, we've played. Well, also, what makes me kind of worry is that we've played two teams that run the ball 60 to 70% of the time, and now we're going to play a team that spreads it out. They play a completely different type of offense than Idaho, or they run. But there is, like you said, the benefit of them, having basically the same formations and everything's running out of the same base that they're used to practicing against. Also, they suck. Like, please just don't be. But yeah, you could be looking forward because you got Oregon next week, and and you just beat Wisconsin. You're on that super high. Like, because even there's a risk, and we didn't talk about them too. Like, we should probably talk about this. Like, even the coach could have a letdown on this one. Like,
totally.
Like Saturday was a dream come true for him. That was a literal pinnacle of your life type moment.
Indeed. Yeah, maybe the fact they played Idaho close.
Yeah, maybe
keep them grounded.
Maybe that's part. Maybe if we beat Idaho by 40, we would beat Wisconsin. You never know, man.
Well, and that was kind of where I was going with the trap game before the season. Was I thought, okay, well, we'll probably destroy Idaho. We'll probably lose to Wisconsin. And then, okay, Oregon, Pac-12 North, all that stuff coming up the following week. This is just one. And also that was kind of when I thought, Colorado State, not necessarily they'd be sneaky good, but just maybe a little better than people give them credit for. But yeah, so many of those things have changed now. I don't know. I mean, just the circumstances terrify me, but I truly would not be shocked if we went out there and beat the shit out of them.
Yeah, that would be great.
I wanna, I don't know, man. I am having a hard time being my cynical self. I'm having a hard time being the guarded fan that I've sort of trained myself to be. I don't know, man. I look at this and I go, I guess, they're college kids. They might come out and lay a turd. I mean, that does happen. But, even if they lay a turd here, they could still, beat them by 3 touchdowns.
Exactly.
They're really, really.
I mean, they kind of didn't play super well against Wisconsin and beat them.
Yes.
So.
And it's not so much that Colorado State, when we say, okay, they're not good. It's one thing when maybe they don't have a ton of talent or whatever. But, we've gone through coaching changes, coaching transitions. Sometimes those things are really rough. And that is kind of what this is seeming like. Where it is, Norvell rolls in there and he wants to do a certain thing his way. And it's working with some guys and not with others. And, just some comments that he made that I read in some stories that, about, hey, some guys maybe not being on board. And I'm like, that is never a good sign after 2 games, man. That is never a good sign. So, again, I think all that stuff kind of points to we should win relatively easily.
We should.
This team's making me believe, man. They're making me think that they got this shit on lockdown. Maybe that's not a great idea, but
the defense is making me believe, and I believe I think the Cam Ward we see in 3 weeks is going to be exponentially better than the Cam Ward we've seen so far.
This might legit be the moment where it kind of all comes together. This defense is not good, and he might legitimately shred them. And that would be nice.
That'd be nice. It's been quite weird. We're 2-0, and we've scored 41 points.
Yep.
Yeah. Including at a top 20 Big Ten school.
Amazing.
I mean, obviously, if we were ever going to win a Big Ten game, it was going to be under 20 points or whatever. But I have a question for you, Jeff. Yeah, Colorado State, they're not good. We shouldn't lose to them. Also, we're kind of scared. Whatever. Where does this Wisconsin win rank among wins?
I mean, I'm certainly not a program historian, having really my fandom.
So I'll say I heard from like a one Coug at the bar afterwards, like this is the biggest road win we've had out of conference since like beating Nebraska in the 70s.
Yeah,
which
that's
I
probably true.
Which when he said that, I was like, I cannot think of any other game where like that would disprove that notion.
Yeah, I mean we had some close calls in the early 2000s, right? There was Ohio State,
Auburn,
and Auburn.
Well, or 2000 in 2013
Notre Dame.
In 13, yeah.
Notre Dame was another one in the early 2000s.
My first game as a student.
Or mid 2000s. Yeah, so there were some of those, that were close calls, and that was kind of the thing. Like going into this game, it was like, look, we tend to go to these games and put up a good fight, but we also tend to lose, and come back and collect our paycheck, and everybody feels good, And so it's like I just I don't know where it ranks in terms of significance. I don't know what it ends up meaning in the end.
I think the assumption is that, I mean, it's definitely like if you just think about the years that you and I could kind of collect in our mind.
Yeah.
It's the biggest non-conference road win in at least like 30 years, 35, 40 years. Like
Yes, the word I keep using is memorable, because it is going to be like we're gonna talk about this like remember that time we beat Wisconsin? I mean, we'll be talking about that till we die.
Yeah,
right.
We're gonna be like those old. Like, there's gonna be like these young Cougs, and there's gonna be like, what are they even talking about? Like, it's so weird.
It's gonna be that time we beat Wisconsin on the road at Camp Randall in front of 80,000 fans, jump around, blah blah. I mean, it's just like that's the way it's gonna be. So in that sense, I think it's one of the biggest in program history. In that way, I don't know if it's
also probably one of the most. I would say it's up there with one of the most surprising. I would say. Sure. Well, I was also at the USC win, but like the 10-7. So, but like that, it's up there with that, but probably even more surprising than that.
Yeah.
Like, because it just I before the game I was like, it'd be cool if we won. I could see ways we could win. I just didn't really believe that we win, and I never went. I didn't go to Madison because I thought we were gonna get this big ass win, and I'm gonna see it in person, right? And then it happened, Like it's definitely up there. Like it's definitely up there for one. Like we definitely in the bars and stuff. We were talking about this after the game. Like, where does this rank all time wins? And like, it was just like everyone's just like, this is. Like, I sent a picture out with me and Corey, having beers and State Street brats, and just like, we're going to talk about this till we're old. Like, we're going to talk about this forever. Like, it was just, if you've seen like my Twitter and like the videos of my like raw reaction to this, like, it's just because it was just like one of those things, like, you just didn't, like, I just didn't think it was going to happen. So it was just like like my raw emotion of the day was like so crazy. And like, it just, so if you just put it in the category of that, like it's such a huge win. And you just hope that the team, I hope this means that something amazing on a season level is happening.
Well, and I think that's ultimately what will define the win.
Yeah.
Regardless, there's a
if you think about like the 2017 win over USC, like is nowhere on the level of the 2002 win over USC.
Yes.
Even though the 2002 win was over a team that was ranked like 16th versus a team that was ranked 5th because of what happened after that.
Right.
Exactly. 2017 they finished 8-5. 2002 they went to the Rose Bowl. So yes, and honestly, like there was a lot of Cougs, including me, NBA, wore that home field Rose Bowl Cougar shirt, which by the way is probably the best one of the set, honestly. But like the home field Cougar Rose Bowl shirt, because we're playing a Big Ten team, whatever. But then you're like, hell yeah, dude, maybe, like, I don't think we're that good, but that's the type of stuff, like, maybe this is, maybe it is, maybe we are, maybe the defense is that fucking good. Because obviously those teams had amazing defenses. But
if the defense is that good, it doesn't take very much to start thinking of, okay, well, what if the offense is like 20% better than what they are right now?
Yeah.
Or 30% better than what, like it's not hard to see a path, because we've watched plenty of offenses that are hopeless, right? Like,
yeah.
Like, and not recently, mostly, right? Because we had, that run of
not since about 2012 or so.
But it's like, but we've seen what hopeless offenses look like. This is not a hopeless offense. Like, they are, they're sputtering.
It's just very clearly they're trying to figure it out. They're trying to figure it out. It's a new offense. They're trying to figure it out. You hope it's not like 2012 where they never figure it out.
But like, I think back to 2012, and it was like, it felt like hoping and praying that they were going to figure it out. Like, it was just
also
like,
probably like the level of talent.
Yeah, and they changed quarterbacks twice. It was Jeff Toole. It was Connor Halliday. It was, I mean, this feels just completely different. Just completely different. Like, they just, the things we talked about this last week, right? Like, there's nothing that I've seen that makes me go, oh shit, that's a problem. Yeah. Right? Like, I was worried that the offensive line was going to be so poor that it was going to undermine anything else they would want to do. Well, that is clearly not the case, right? Against Wisconsin, they weren't like, nobody would go, wow,
literally one of the best
performances.
One of the best front sevens they'll play. Probably the best front seven they'll play all year.
But they were like, okay. And it's like, okay, that's the thing. Well, if you put it's pretty good.
You put the offensive performance in the context of the quality of the defense you're playing, then they actually, I know if they cut out those turnovers, then it's a whole different ballgame,
Yeah, and the turnovers that's the other thing. Like, I don't look at those turnovers and go, oh man, Cam Ward is super turnover prone. I looked at those and went, okay, on
he was trying
both
to make
of those throws. Yeah, and on both of those throws, a defender made a really savvy, smart play to pick him off. The kind of play that I am 98% certain he never, ever, ever saw at the FCS level, right? Like the first one, so you said...
Yeah, especially the first one,
Yeah, like you said on Saturday, like, I mean, geez, I saw that defender from a mile away. And it's like, yeah, but, at the lower level, does the defender have, even if the defender does that, even if the defender peels off, reads the eyes, peels off his primary coverage, and basically turns himself into a safety to go get the ball, right? Like, even at the FCS level, if the guy does that, does he have enough speed to get there, right? And the answer is, I mean, maybe, but maybe not, right?
Yeah.
So, Ward may have made that throw before where it's like, yeah, of course this guy's over here, but he'll never get there. And then, Wisconsin gets there. And then the other one, kind of the same deal, right? I mean, he was, he had zone coverage in the flat and kind of read Ward's eyes and dropped back and, made a play that way. So, those are plays where, and granted, it was forced as well. That was the other thing, right? He had a guy in his face, so it was forced. But at the same time, it's just like, man, those are plays that, maybe, aren't made at that lower level. And I think he'll learn and he'll figure it out.
And hopefully later, what I would love to see, there's two players that I would love to see on offense have big games against Colorado State. Cam Ward and Deshaun Stribling.
Mm-hmm.
Deshaun,
yeah, I'd love for Stribling to get rolling.
He barely had an opportunity against Wisconsin.
Yep.
And Cam just needs a good game,
Yeah. Yep. I think that would be lovely. So. Yeah, I think the offense, I don't think it's crazy at all to think that the offense is going to get significantly better as the season goes along. Like, I just have not seen anything that leads me to think that Cam Ward is not going to figure it out.
Well, he definitely has the tools. Like, you see the tools. Like, they're there.
And, I mean, we know what the wide receivers can do. The offensive line looks, at the very least, serviceable. Like, I don't know, man. Like, there's no reason to think the offense can't be better.
And also, we probably will not play a better defense than we just played.
No, we won't. I'm not even going to say probably. Like, I'm going to say we won't play a better defense than that. And so, and then you look at the Pac-12 North, and it's like, I mean, does anybody look that great?
Yeah.
Probably not. So, I mean, we don't have the advantage of Washington's horribly weak schedule, but, at the same time,
well,
like,
sometimes you don't have a horribly weak schedule and then you still get the W's.
That's yes.
You still win it.
Yeah.
You still win in Madison.
I don't know, man. I thought this was a team that had 6-6, 7-5, 5-7 written all over them.
Obviously, getting this win sets yeah. I mean, getting this win definitely makes you feel like 6-6 is a baseline at this point.
Yeah, but it just makes me think like, man, like when I think back to what was it, 2017, right? When the defense was amazing and the offense was like, ugh, right? It was just that slog with with Luke Falk back there, and a quickly regressing Luke Falk, right? And that was one where we looked and went, man, this offense is just, I don't think they're ever going to figure it out, right? Like to the point where it was like, well, maybe we're better off with Tyler Helinski, right? Where we were kind of thinking like, do we need a quarterback change? And so,
no one's going to say that this year.
Yeah, but we also dreamed.
Mostly because most people couldn't name who the backup quarterback is.
Yeah, and we were like, man, if the offense was just like even just pretty good with this defense, we'd be like da 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 da. I don't know, man. I'm sitting here kind of.
And we've already banked.
I'm allowing myself to dream a little bit.
We banked the Wisconsin one already. It's banked.
Yep.
Like
so.
It like. And and I mean there was some injuries on the defense during the Wisconsin game that.
Yes.
We'll see, like Travion Brown.
It seems like none of them are super serious.
Hopefully not. Like Travion Brown and Xavier Lee were both kind of writhing in pain for a significant amount of time. So that was a little concerning. Jordan Lee, Xavier Lee, whatever. Jordan Lee was writhing around for quite a while, but he walked off. It looked like an ankle to me, probably. And same with Travion with his arm. Seemed like maybe it was like an arm injury. I don't know. Like he was kind of holding his arm on the way out. So, and also Derek Langford came out in a boot. So
yeah, that one was the most concerning to me. But we, as you and I also know, sometimes players just go into boots. He didn't come back. Obviously, he wasn't well enough to come back. But
I mean, the injury
signified he's going to be out for a month.
The injury didn't look great, but yeah, exactly. But he was also walking in the boot, and then like the trainer was carrying.
He came off the field on his own power.
Yeah, so he was walking in the boot. And the trainer was carrying crutches next to him. So, if you can walk in the boot, then that means, and they're not making you put pressure on it. That means to me, it's not a ligament or a tendon type injury, and it's or like a stress fracture type thing. So maybe it was just a strain, or which would be now I'm contradicting myself. A strain would be like a ligament injury, but whatever. I don't think anything was torn significantly or broken significantly if they're letting him walk around on the boot.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. And this would be a good weekend. I keep saying trap game, but this might not be the worst weekend for those guys to take an extra week to get ready for Oregon.
Trap game 1738. That was for Emma and Brian and Katie and Amanda. Sorry to everyone, but we all got inside jokes now. We had a hell of a weekend.
Awesome.
Yeah, it was amazing. It was. I wish you were there, buddy. It was incredible.
Too, but that's okay.
Yeah. But you're the kind of friend that's just happy to see his friends have fun.
Man. When you FaceTimed me, I was like, that was the highlight of my night.
So FaceTime Jeff at State Street Bots at like midnight our time, so like 10 your time, I guess. That's why I was like, oh wait, Jeff is not that. It's not too late for
I was
him.
sitting by the campfire.
So what was the first we did? I know this. I was going to hang up. Oh, it was Bohemian Rhapsody, and then I was going to hang up, and then Mr. Brightside came on, which is mostly makes me think of Mark's wedding. So that's why I couldn't. Okay, I do have a question. So we do have a question for the podcast. Just in Garrett Foster at G Foster GFC. Love it, friend.
You said you were gonna go for an hour.
Hey, I said an hour and a half, and we're usually an hour and 45, so you're fine.
Yeah.
You have beer. Can you not talk to each other? Do you actually need me? Hey. And so Garrett Foster says, hey, I'm taking my boys to the game this weekend for the first time. I had taken my oldest when he was 5 and 17 months old. Wait, what? 5 and 7. Okay. Hey, I'm taking my boys to the game this weekend for the first time. Had taken my oldest when he was 5 and 17 months old. I don't know what that means, Garrett. I'm sorry. Do you mean he's 6 months and 5 months? 6 years and 5? I don't. Okay. Okay. So anyway. Not sure what the details are for the pregame stuff for kids. Any tips? Kids love. There's the field, the practice field next to the next to the stadium. They have.
Do they still call it Cougville out there?
Cougville, yes. They have the bouncy house. Butch usually is around there. I would suggest that. Other than that, my suggestion is to limit the amount of time. So don't try to do too much pregame with them because you're going to have a 3.5 hour football game after that. And if you actually want to watch all of it, I wouldn't take them too early. Normally I would say come hang at the tailgate, but we're not going to be tailgating this weekend. Sorry, Jeff. I think we'll be at the Coug. Also, you can take your kids to the Coug. You can do that too.
Yeah,
and
that's a good
have them sign the wall. They love that shit.
Yep.
All that stuff.
Yep.
So I would recommend that because during the day you can take them there. So if those are my tips, because I have taken my children to the game.
Yep, those are good tips.
Yeah, and then you're gonna go to bed early. That's my other tip. Or at least go to the hotel early. When Jeff will be jealous. As I'm ruining his life this weekend. Ooh, you're gonna be. Yeah, you think that now that you've challenged me. You shouldn't have said that, Jeff. Shouldn't have said it'll be a level playing field.
Oh dear.
I get a whole night off. A whole night of not drinking.
Yeah. That should be enough.
Should be enough. All right. Well. I think that now my friends are complaining that this is taking too long. This is one of our shorter podcasts.
I know.
But yeah, I think I'm also impressed with myself coming to Las Vegas for work conference and we recorded the podcast, but we couldn't not do it. Also. We couldn't not do it. No. I could have gloated about my time in Madison for much longer. And if anyone wants a bonus pod about me gloating about time in Madison, honestly, just look at my Twitter. Let's look at my Twitter. I already did all that. Yeah. See the two, the jump around and then the two back homes. But yeah, so if you like this, if you're new to this, because maybe you wanted to hear everything about the Wisconsin game, go ahead and give us, subscribe and rate 5 stars, all that stuff. We would appreciate that. If you want to follow me on Twitter, I'm at the Craig Powers, on Instagram at Craig W Powers. Jeff is on Twitter at Pod versus Everyone. And you can send us email. I didn't even look at the email. Should I do it? No, I'll do it. I don't really want to. No, we're good. We're good. If you want to send us emails, questions and shit, it's podcastversuseveryone@gmail.com. And with that, I say, go Cougs, Jeff.
Go Cougs, Craig. Black Lives Matter.
Black Lives Matter. And get vaccinated, you fuckers. All right. Still.